Are you guys
I
ready?
want one. How much are they?
I'm not going to tell you. I just get it.
Why do you do that?
Why do you do that?
Hey everybody, it's Kels and I'm hitting you again with another video. On this channel, you know I talk about being 30 and all the crap that comes with that. A few weeks ago, I did a video talking about my life versus my mom's life, and so I figured if I was home, why not actually have a conversation with her? But then also at my grandmother, and we can just compare and contrast 30 years old from the different time frames. So this is my mom.
Hey.
And then this is my grandma.
Hi.
So basically, I just want to know, because I always talk about me being 30, and so how would you describe your 30-year-old experience? Like, what were you facing? What was your life like? Were you married? All that good stuff.
Well, when I was 30, I was married to your dad. And the struggle was real. You know, lived paycheck to paycheck. You know, I mean, I did enjoy my 30s, but, you know, it was a struggle trying to raise, you know, a family. And, yeah.
How many kids did you have when you were 30?
I had 2 kids. I had you and Trey. So, yeah, it was a struggle trying to carry around 2 bambinos at 30. I was heavily involved in the church, especially when I was 30. I was so sold out for Christ. So, and of course, you know, I wanted my kids raised in the church as well when I was 30. You know, when I grew up, I was raised in the church. My mom, you know, she made us go to church. We didn't have a choice at all.
She's right.
She didn't give me a whole lot of choices, so I kind of did my own thing. Very rebellious.
That's right.
Because my mother never listened to me. But that's another story for another day.
Right. Catch us next week.
Right, because there'll be another episode. But yeah, no, my 30s, you know, I really enjoyed my my 30s. But again, like I said, it was a little rough. But you know, I wouldn't take anything back, because I think struggling the way that I did, and I had to work for everything, it really made me who I am today. So I can appreciate, you know, all the things that I'm blessed with today, because I had to struggle. Nothing was given to me. I had to work hard for everything that I had. So I'm thankful for that.
And did you have a job?
Absolutely.
Where'd you work? Was it like a job that you were proud of, or just something just to kind of like make ends meet?
Actually, I worked for Nichols Bakery at the time, and you know, and I made good money at that job, but it wasn't something that I wanted to continue to do. You know, it's just a job to make ends meet. But you know, my heart was into you know, the criminal justice system is where my heart was, which eventually that's where I wound up. But you know, you do what you got to do until you can get to where you need to be. So sometimes you have to accept jobs that you may not particularly care for, but it'll at least get you where you need to be, for sure.
Right, for sure. And what year were you 30?
Girl, you asking me to do the math?
Yeah.
You were born in 62.
Right.
So 62,
would have been
92. So 1992. So I guess the 90s, well, I guess people, depending on who you are watching this video, you may know how the 90s were. Obviously, I was only 5, so I can't really speak on how the 90s were. But, Graham, your turn. How was life when you were 30?
I was irresponsible. No, in my
Spoiled.
30s,
Yeah, absolutely.
in my 30s was a difficult period for me, because at the time I think I had 2 kids, 3, 2, whatever. Anyway, my kids
No, you just had my mom.
in their 30s,
Because you were born in 36 or 32?
36.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, you only had 2.
Yeah, so in my 30s, I think I was very mature. I was trying to find out probably who I was, and that was not a good thing. I was married. I got married right out of high school. I was 16, and I turned 17 in January of that year. And my first marriage, I was in a very abusive relationship with my husband. And so, but I look at it like my daughter just said, as it made me grow up in certain respects. Some things I made mistakes about because I was immature. I think this generation is a little bit more mature in their 30s, and I look at you as my
Really?
granddaughter as being very mature. But
Really?
then there again, I'm prejudiced.
Okay.
But I look at you from the standpoint of when I was 30, that I didn't have the type of sense that you have now. Common sense.
Really?
Exactly.
Okay.
But you know what though? But I think though a lot of it has to do with, you know how they always say it takes a village to raise a child. But I think sometimes it depends on like if you have, you know, help from like if your grandmother is still living, or there's an uncle or an aunt or somebody that's really involved in your life. Like I think it takes the whole entire family to help you raise,
Absolutely.
you know, that family, because then it, you know, it helps you become more mature. You can get advice from different levels.
Right.
You know, so, and I think that has a lot to do with it because, I mean, let's face it, Kelsey, she's like, she acts a lot like me, but she also acts a lot like you.
That's true.
And I act like you, so, I mean, so
Yeah.
I'll say that she didn't have a choice probably but to be mature between the two of us,
It's true.
if I'm being straight up.
That's
Right.
true. But I did want to say too that because on this channel I always talk about what I quote unquote don't have, or when you compare and contrast to other people. I think it's worse now because of social media. You see people's come up or whatever, or I don't want to say facade. I'm not trying to make it seem like people are fake, but you see little accomplishments here and there, and even if it's just one from one person here, you see it multiple times depending on how many friends you have who's on your timeline. So you start to think that everybody's doing something and you're not doing anything. But what's crazy is, because when you were 30, that was the 60s, right? It was 1966.
Yeah.
And so, basically, you know, we're thinking that we're so behind, not knowing that y'all felt the same way. But y'all were married, and a lot of times, people in our 30s, we might feel like we're unaccomplished because we're single.
Right.
Especially because of the times. Like, I don't know the difference of the 60s, the 90s. I can just speak for myself, and entrepreneurship is such a big thing nowadays. And like, I know women's rights, I have way more rights than you had in the
Women are
60s.
more empowered now than they were back in, say, my day. In my day, you know, it's like, I'll use this for example. The woman kind of walked one step behind the man.
Yeah.
I'm just using it as an example.
It's true.
They didn't exactly do that, but I'm just using that to make a point, because women did not, they were looked upon as second-class citizens,
Right.
so to speak.
But you guys kind of like, in your day, like women really didn't work. They stayed home, took care of the kids, they cooked. It's almost like you guys, like after high school, it's like you just instantly got married.
Yep.
Right.
Because
That
it's
was
almost,
the thing.
yeah, it's almost
Right.
like, okay, you know, you, of course you had to have somebody take care of you because, you know, you women didn't work. So it's like you got married, you know, and had kids and cooked, and the man went out and worked, you know.
Except in my case, I had
Right. Right.
I mean, I had to work to take care of my children.
Right.
My jobs consist of a scrivener Mary's Flow, for example. You know, I remember making $1 an hour. I worked 8 hours, that was $8. And then I stopped by the store to pick up groceries for my family. And it just went on from that point, you know. But my first good job that I would say, when I went to work for Michigan Gas, and I was able to go back to school and learn a skill, so to speak. I mean, I already had a skill, so to speak, in my mind,
Yeah.
and I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is why I thank God that there were certain people back in my day, white people, that came to my rescue and just instilled some knowledge in me,
Yeah.
allowed me to learn and to grow. And I worked at that job for 25 years and retired from there.
Yeah.
So, but from that job, I learned so much.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the key, is just being present and trying to make the best of your situation with what you have.
Exactly.
But I think with my age group, because of social media, a lot of times, well, I'll speak for myself. I'm quick to be like, well, not, because I feel like I have so many rights. I feel like I'm so strong-minded where I don't put up with crap. But I feel like, but at the same time, it's a gift and a curse because I've quit plenty of jobs and where I probably should have stayed being more wise. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though I kind of feel like, well, I don't have to because I don't have kids and I'm not married, so I'm just taking care of myself. But I feel like I should have had more respect for myself to stay, even though I don't have kids. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
So, but, and what's crazy, and the reason why I wanted to do this video is because oftentimes we feel like we're failures or we're so behind, not even realizing that we all share the same thing. 3 total different times of life, yet we had the same struggles, the same mindset. And one of the main reasons why I did this channel is because a lot of times I felt lost. And when you turn 30, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm nowhere where I want to be, nowhere near it, nowhere close to it. You feel like a failure and you feel like you're the only one when you simply have the conversation and you realize that everyone has felt that way. It's like a sense of discovery when you turn 30 and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You know, sometimes you have to make your path. Know what that path is and stick to it. I mean, there's always obstacles that's going to knock you down. But being the strong black woman that you are, you get right back up and you just put one foot in front of the other and you keep on striving. And the more that you strive, one day you're going to make it. Don't ever give up.
Yeah. You might have made some crazy mistakes, but I guarantee you, you've been humbled
true.
Because of it.
Yes.
That's true.
You know, and that's the thing. If it's okay to make the mistakes. You just got to learn from them. That's the difference. So if you've learned nothing from your mistakes, then you're just about as far behind as you could get.
Right.
But I'll say that you've matured a lot. You weren't a bad kid at all.
Yeah.
You were always a good kid. Like I never had to tell you more than one time to do something. If I asked you to do something, you just did it. And I don't know if that was out of fear or it was just my face. I decided to make.
All the above.
Yep, I just made this face and you just knew what to do. But like I never had any trouble out of you. But you just was one of those kids that just listened. So I can appreciate that as a parent. But I knew you were going to do great things, and I know that God still has so much more, for you to do. So He's really going to, He'll elevate you to exactly where you need to be. So sometimes I think we allow age to have society determine where you should be in life.
Yeah.
And that's not true.
Yeah.
Everybody, they elevate on different levels at different ages or different times. So I don't think I'd let that, stop me at all. Because if that's the case, I'm about to turn 56 and I feel like I'm still not where I need to be. Yeah. But I'm thankful for where God brought me and to where I am now, because when I look back to where I was, I thank God, because I've had a lot of struggles, I've had a lot of heartache and headaches and things like that, but I just thank God because He kept me and He saved me because of it. So I'm grateful to where I am today.
Awesome.
So,
well, I have one more question, and I'm going to start with you because of the question. How was it being a 30-year-old black woman in the 60s?
That would take the rest of this video.
I know. Well, just kind of like briefly, was it a struggle compared to us now?
It was a struggle. Women were not empowered like they are now. Jobs were not available for us as they are now.
Yeah.
There were a lot of obstacles in your path where you could not go to the next level because you were told you couldn't or was not allowed.
Right.
There were so many things. There were a lot of things, a lot that I can't think of right now. It's hard to think back to when I was 30, being 82.
Right.
Understandable.
I think sometimes I block out a lot of stuff. Every once in a while things come to mind. But being 30 was, as I say, was my immature years.
Understandable. Was it hard being black during those times?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. As I said, the job opportunities were less. You had to fight for whatever you wanted to do, even if you were in a job.
Yeah.
Promotions were not for us. So, as I was saying before, it was really a struggle during those times to really elevate yourself to, if you were in a job.
Yeah.
So.
What about you? How was it being a young black woman in the 90s?
A struggle.
Really?
Oh yeah, definitely a struggle. I mean, let's face it. I mean, back in when I was 30, it was still a white man's world, and all of my bosses were men. I mean, there were no women. I didn't have any women bosses. There
was
like
nobody that looked like us.
Yep, nobody that looked like me. So, you know, you just kind of had to follow the status quo because it wasn't like I could have an opinion.
Right.
Exactly.
You know?
That's the tough part.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when you're a strong-willed, strong-minded woman.
Exactly, and you know how I am. I'm very, very strong-minded.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult for me because even in my job, like I may have had a better way to do things or to get my job done.
Yeah.
But it didn't
Couldn't
matter.
express it.
Yep. Because I could never express it and, you know, tell them let's, you know, sit down and have a talk. I figured out a way to do things better. Yeah, that was like unheard of. So, yeah, you know, it was just difficult, you know, being a black woman in your 30s. I think even still in my 30s, even though, you know, women, we were allowed to work though, I still think we still had the mindset that women should be at home and men should be at work.
Yeah.
We were still kind of in that era a little bit, but you know, I always wanted to work because I didn't want to just be a stay-at-home mom and receiving nickels on the dollar to try to
get an allowance from your husband.
Exactly. That just baffled me to get an allowance from my husband. That was like, I just couldn't handle it. I tried it though. I did. I tried it. I didn't even last 2 weeks with your dad.
Yeah.
Because when he handed me $20, told me to go get groceries, that was it. I said I gotta find a job.
Yeah.
So I'm so independent, and that was because of my mom. My mom made me very, very independent to learn how to take care of myself. Now I don't know if that was for selfish reasons, so I didn't have to depend on her.
Pretty much, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she made me very independent. I mean, my mom taught me everything I needed to know. You know, how to clean, getting up at 8 o'clock every Saturday morning, cleaning her house, not mine, but hers. And I meant that.
Right.
You know, I had a bedroom there.
Yeah.
Yep. So you know, she made us cook. She made us clean. I mean, she taught me everything I needed. So I mean, I'm thankful for that. Even at the time, I wasn't thankful, but yeah. But again, like I said, it was just struggle being a black woman, you know, and you trying to, you know, get a career going, and it was very difficult because, I mean, every door that, you know, you went to got slammed in your face because it was unheard of for a black woman to be in any position, you know, of authority. So.
But then there again, I think it kind of molded our character,
For sure.
Oh,
you know, so to speak.
But no, I get it because you know what? At least I feel that because of my, I was so strong-minded, or I was more of a little bit more aggressive, people can't handle me because they feel like I'm like too pushy, or like I'm more, they call it aggressiveness, but I was always passionate about, you know, whatever I wanted to do, I was very passionate about it, but people couldn't handle that because they felt like you know, I was just too pushy. But you had to be pushy to get to where you wanted to be because I was just never one of those people that just went with the flow.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I figured if I wanted something that I had to be pushy.
Right.
You know, and I had to work harder for it.
Yeah.
So,
That's true.
you know, but I think I get that aggressive personality from you, definitely. And that's where she gets it.
For sure.
But I feel like I'm extremely aggressive. But like Taryn is, oh my God, she's very aggressive, very strong-minded. She reminds me a lot of myself, but I don't know, she takes it to another level though.
Right, we should interview her in 6 years when she turns 30.
Exactly.
Well, I'll say this, and you kind of touched on it already. Being 30 now, being that I'm 30 and it's 2018, I feel like I can do absolutely anything. First of all, I was always raised by my mom that I can do anything. But I feel like the culture, the times, the atmosphere is conducive for me to do anything. But I can't say that it's just because of the times, but it took women like you who saw what was going on, may not have always agreed with it, but you did what you had to do. And when you recognize the issue, you instilled the solution into her, which in turn, she still did what she had to do, did what she could at her level, but then kept pushing it forward to me. And so I feel like if it wasn't for strong women like y'all, then women like me couldn't even exist, to the point now where I'm literally starting my own business and there's nothing you can't tell me. Like, and that's another reason why I'm single, because I'm so strong-minded, I'm so driven, I'm so like just focused on what I want, and I see the possibilities now where I feel like I can do whatever I want to. So
you can.
And that's what I was gonna say. So one of the main things I want to say on this channel is, if you're 30 and you feel like you can't, like you're behind, it's not true. If you just simply have the conversation with those closest to you, you'll find that you all are actually in the same place. And you'll find a lot of encouragement if you just simply have the conversation, because women like my grandmother and my mother, they've already been there. They've been through the worst of times. So that way they can literally give you constructive criticism, and also just ways of persevering as a young millennial, or heck, a woman or a young minority. And to think that they went through times where they didn't even have the same type of abilities or clearance the way that we do, we should definitely be feeding off of people who are closest to us and who want to see nothing but the best for us. And so,
Absolutely.
is there anything else y'all want to say before we get out of here?
Nah,
I'm good.
no, I'm actually good. I mean, no, I don't have nothing to say. I mean, I enjoyed my 30s. I did.
Good.
You know? And it's, you know, and it's, I'm just thankful that that I'm still here and be able to see my daughter in her 30s, so that you can kind of measure the difference, you know.
Yeah.
And I'll piggyback on that. I'm glad I'm still here to see my daughter and my granddaughter.
For sure.
It's such a blessing to, and I tell my daughter this continuously, that I count it a blessing every day to still yet be in the land of the living, because I see so many of my friends who are not healthy, has all kinds of issues of sort, and I'm still mobile, and that to me is a blessing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep, and she don't have to live with me at 82 years old.
Right.
I'm so thankful. Because me and her together,
We clash.
nada.
We love each other, but we clash.
Yeah, exactly. I have to kill her.
Yes, no, ditto.
Well, I will say it was a pleasure having y'all on my little segment of being
Absolutely.
30.
Glad
We're
to be
definitely
here.
going to have to do it again next time I come home. And once again, y'all, if this is your first time tuning into the channel, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. I have so many great videos coming towards you. And if you're already a part of the family, welcome back. Y'all want to give me a hug?
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.